Welcome back, everybody, to Beards and Brews. This week's review is going to be The Warriors from 1959. Now, gentlemen, can you dig it?
1979, you mean?
That's what I said.
You said 1959.
It's a black and white picture. So what?
Starring Charlie Chaplin. Can I dig it? I can dig it. I can watch this movie and I can enjoy it. But I will say there's a lot of things that, especially, I've watched this when I was younger. I didn't really think too much about it. It's just a movie that was on, so I watched it. Sitting down to actually watch it for the show, I found myself enjoying it while at the same time going, what the fuck? About every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a movie that's, it's totally all style over substance. Certainly dated, and there's a lot of stuff that, makes your head tilt to the side sometimes, but the momentum of this movie is its biggest strength.
I think it's a really fun movie. I really like the idea of it. Just like the gangland, New York being this gang-infested, even more so than it actually is. It's like one of the early Grand Theft Auto games. That's really what it reminds me of.
Oh man, soundtrack definitely hits you right in the rock star bone.
See, to me, the soundtrack just sounded like John Carpenter. Like, that sounds like a John Carpenter movie to me, in a good way.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. Like John Carpenter's early, late 70s, early 80s stuff is just, it's good stuff. Like The Thing, even Halloween, classic.
So I'd like to see this remade now, because 1979, these gangs that they show us, that this movie opens with the montage of the different gangs, they are like the most cartoony motherfuckers I've ever seen.
I don't know, I have a soft spot for them. I mean, there's just something novelty about them. It's so fun.
The bobbers.
You say cartooners cartoony. I see that as like a positive thing, though. Everything is so... all of these gangs are like a caricature of something.
Yeah,
I love it.
Like,
and they
again with like the bobbers, these dudes were like some pink vest mobster types. What? But okay.
Maybe they just all really like the movie Grease. I don't know.
I didn't catch the names of a lot of these, but I did write down each time I saw like one specific gang. Like, you've got the mimes and you've got the camo vests with the berets. You got one gang that all wears black tank tops for some reason. I don't know.
Let me just run down some of these fellows, since I did, in fact, do the dumb shit of writing down some of their names. We have, of course, the titular Warriors, the leather vest weirdos. We have the Bobbers. As I said, they are pink vest gangster types. The Boyle Avenue Runners. I guess they like to run. A group simply entitled the Hi-Hats.
They're right next to the snare, so...
Yeah. You have the Electric Eliminators. They look like bowlers.
That sounds pretty badass, though. It's got the alliteration in there.
Even when you see them and they see the jacket and it's got the embellishments, they look like they're going to a bowling tournament.
Maybe they are.
You have the Punks. These dudes are on roller skates. They get into a fight and the dude gets hit and he fucking rolls backwards. There are the Baseball Furies. They are, again, a iconic image for this film.
I love them.
And
yeah, they're one of the few. They're one of the few people on the cover art too, in the poster.
Yeah. And then the powerhouse of all of the gangs, the Gramercy Rips, and they are your blaxploitation kung fu guys.
I actually didn't know that they had a name. I don't know where you got that from. It's probably in there somewhere, but I didn't see it.
Yep. Kung fu guys.
Yep, kung fu guys. All right, so where we get started here is it's a near future. We don't know how near. You've got hundreds of gangs taking over New York City, and you've got one man rising up to join them all together. Cyrus. Cyrus is the one and only. And he brings all of these gangs together. Everybody has a council of like 9 members that they're coming together in this sort of... It looks like Bonnaroo, but with some juggalos mixed in. That's what it looks like to me. It's just a big stadium concert kind of thing where everybody's just jam-packed together, but they can't bring weapons.
Yeah, it's like a nice little like council for everyone, and just trying to, I guess, divvy up the city. And I guess the plan was to just like maybe join everybody together in one big gang, and just take over New York City.
Trying to reunite all the gangs, because once the gangs are reunited, they will outnumber the cops in the city, 3-1.
I'm curious if there was like a memo sent out to tell everyone to show up via public transportation.
That would be cute. Like instead of a wedding invitation, it's like a gang invitation.
They're like, here, come on, get on the subway, because these are fucking gang members.
Gotta RSVP.
I need tokens to get on the subway. That's a scene.
Later on, they don't care about the tokens. They just hop over the turnstiles. They just go for it.
I mean, couldn't they just steal a fucking car? These are the bad guys.
Well, this is in the near future. Maybe New York City has degraded to the point where maybe it's like Havana, where all the cars are just kind of few and far between, and only either for the really rich or they're all just run down.
Unless none of them have their driver's license, who knows?
Could be. I hear in New York City you don't really need it.
So, like you were saying, Chandler, only one man can, bring this together, and it's Cyrus, and he gives that monumental speech to all these people.
Yes, we can.
Exactly.
Oh.
But instead of yes, we can, it's can you dig it? And apparently, Luther, one of the members of the Rogues, that's not a fucking spoiler. Yeah, the Rogues. Apparently, they're not down with what he's preaching up there, and
he's not down with the clown.
Nope. And they shoot Cyrus, and only one motherfucker in a crowd of God only knows how many people sees this happen.
Well, I mean, there was a ton of people there. I mean, most of them were ugly, so it kind of fit in.
Yeah, but they're like bunched together. And, only 9 people from their group is there. And then the group in front of him, the group beside him, the group all around him. And there he is, like,
they were just too busy digging it, that's all.
They were digging it.
To be fair, at that point, everybody's looking at Cyrus. No one's looking at this ugly motherfucker from the Rogues. So he can just, sneak and pow, and that's all you need. It was a good shot, though.
I can enjoy the fact that, unintentionally, this man, Luther, is the guy from The Crow, the T-Bird, Fire It Up fella. And he was also in John Wick, which we just reviewed. He was the man who collects the coins to clean up the bodies.
But I will forever know him as the guy from Commando who got thrown off a cliff. Spoilers.
And he screams, and again, spoiler, at the end of this, he screams that same scream.
Yeah, it's the same thing. That's just all he has.
So, Luther assassinates Cyrus in front of this crowd of thousands. And he immediately says, "That's who did it. It was the Warriors. The Warriors did it. Everybody get him."
Yeah, and they're just like, no, of course not. But everybody having the IQ of I don't know, a piece of paper, they're just like, yeah, he's right, totally them, fuck him, whatever.
Get him. And the main warlord guy who ends up uniting all these people to go do the search, he is like an intense version of Ric Flair with mirrored sunglasses and a sparkly sequin coat.
Instead of Nature Boy, he's just City Boy.
Yeah, instead of woo, he's like, dig it! Frog.
But then shit hits the fan. Everybody scatters like a bunch of cockroaches. The cops show up and everything. And the Warriors are just on a run for their life. They have to get all the way back to Coney Island from Queens, which is apparently 30, 40 miles or something like that.
From the Bronx.
Via
feet.
There's a lot of cardio training in this.
There's no obese gang or anything, the hams or anything.
We don't know. They could have been over there like, somebody get them.
And the cops just immediately bust them.
Foiled again. But yeah, they take off running and they start getting chased by all these different gangs. And this is a fun way to introduce the Warriors' prowess as a more elite group amongst these groups. Or maybe even to highlight how inept these other groups are.
It's true. It's also a really good way to hide the fact that this movie has zero plot. It's literally somebody running from one place to another.
And over and over. Run to a point, fight a random gang, run to another point. It's a fucking side-scrolling video game, is all it is.
Oh yeah,
Or-
good old-fashioned beat 'em up.
Or is it the 1970s version of the Odyssey? Huh?
This whole movie has like long journey. It even has like sirens and stuff trying to distract them later on, which we'll get to.
Okay, so I guess the bus of hunters is the Colossus of Rhodes? I don't know.
No, no, that's just the bus of super diverse skinheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. But that's about as far as I can go with this. I didn't really pay attention in English class when we read the Odyssey, so sorry, guys.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't think people want to hear about the Odyssey while we're discussing diverse skinheads. It was definitely something I noticed that only two groups seem to have a vehicle. The rogues and that diverse group of skinheads. It's like, well, I'm sorry, you also get the vehicle driven by the Gramercy Riffs later.
Yeah, but the skinheads, that was really just a party bus, right?
It's Bang Bus, bro. It's just the natural evolution of it.
Uh-oh.
Can't wait for those times.
But these gangs, they're going from A to B and they're fighting, and they weren't allowed to bring weapons. So most of these are like fisticuffs. There's a lot of bully, these guys swinging on each other. Like I said, a guy in roller skates gets hit. There's an ambush scene in the bathroom where these guys are like, "We got him cornered now," and they walk in the bathroom, and there's like 7 stalls, and they don't see the guys they chased in there, and they don't see feet, so they all line up in front of a stall, so the dudes can kick it open on them.
Well, they're just trying to be super systematic, just to make sure they have all their bases covered. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to give stupid people the benefit of the doubt, really.
Yeah.
I can't do it, man.
Well, but for that, on that one, they only saw like the main guy, Swan. They only saw him go in there. When all of his buddies came down, or maybe him and the girl, but when his buddies came down, he motioned was like, "Hey, there's some guys. Go in the bathroom, follow me, whatever."
Oh yeah, or maybe that's just like gang mentality. Start shit together, take shits together.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
So during this little runaway, they decide if they get split up, we're going to meet at Union Station because that's where they're going to have to meet to take the final train. They have to change trains, and they have to change trains at Union Station, which I don't know where that is on the whole map of New York City, but Union Station, that's where we're going.
Somewhere in the middle.
Probably, yeah. And during this whole thing, we have the radio DJ, who you only see her lips during the whole thing, but I better know her as the Chief from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Carmen Sandiego.
Hell yeah.
I had that shit in my notes, sir.
I'm glad you all knew that too. But she's just sending out alerts to all the boppers all around the boroughs, essentially saying, "Hey, go get these warriors. They're who everybody's chasing." In no uncertain terms. Definitely some keywording in there.
Going from go get those warriors to later in life, kids, go get that knowledge.
Yeah.
So on their way to Union Station, they have to go through other people's territory, and they stumble through this place called the Orphans Territory, and they weren't even invited to that little get-together over there.
Yeah, if there was a meeting, the orphans would have been invited.
And every time they say the orphans, it's like, the who?
But the who
this
is
gang is pretty much they have blue jeans and green t-shirts on. They are the most basic bitches.
They're like the Kmart of gangs.
Right.
I didn't even write anything down about them because they happened, and that was about it. Just like, hey, we're here and we were important, but we were left out. Well, then you're not important. Moving on.
Well, this scene is important because here, they kind of diss the orphans or whatever. They try not to make a whole big stink about it, but here is where they acquire Mercy. The only girl that has any kind of FaceTime really in the whole movie.
She just follows him like a sick puppy.
Well, I think it's a combination of them being like, "Hey, girl, come here, we can have some fun with you," and then being like, or Mercy being like, maybe I don't know, have some fun with them. I don't know, something like that.
Jeez, Rick.
So you're just trying to say like her entire thing was just to break up the whole sausage fest?
I mean, it
Doesn't
could
Swan
be.
end up hooking up with her later?
Almost begrudgingly.
Yeah. Like, oh man, I gotta be the one.
So the orphans tell them to take off their colors if you're going to walk through their territory. And they're like, fuck you. And the orphans are like, all right, I guess that's fine. And Mercy tries to follow after him and tries to, pick a fight with him or something. And she just ends up tagging along with him for whatever reason.
Because that's how you join a gang.
Right, I guess so.
Just a little, but then all at once.
Yeah, Mercy's just moving on to bigger and better things, I guess, because as they try and escape from, I guess the orphans brought a whole bunch of friends or whatever, they run away from them and up to another train platform and try and just get on the next train to get on the next train to get on the next train and so on.
And thus, that's the Warriors from 1929.
Just keeps getting younger.
Yeah.
Film. Uh-oh, the boppers! And then it's just like doot 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 doot, and just spinning something in their hand.
Yeah.
Gotta look out for that.
It's just like a really brutal West Side Story.
They make it to 96th Street, and they have to get off there and I guess go run through.
This is also the start where like the entire group gets like kind of dispersed and everything, starts to split up and splinter off.
100%. So you get a lot of this running again, just more running, and these guys are chasing them, but they're both jogging at a comfortable, brisk pace. They're just, none of them are really sweating. They don't look tired. There's no heavy breathing. They're just trotting along. They seem to just be comfortable with this running. Like it's something they do a lot.
They know they have all night. There's no use to use up all their energy at once.
Yeah.
You
But
gotta
the
pace yourself.
Furies are already at the advantage. Number one, they look cool as fuck. They're wearing, what appears to be a Chicago White Sox jersey. It's white with the black pinstripes, solid black hats. They have the cool face paint.
I think they're supposed to be Yankees jerseys.
Yankees jerseys?
Yeah, I think they're like navy blue pinstripes. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And,
I mean, it's New York, so it would make sense.
New York at night, things happen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, forget about it. So they're chasing them, and this is the first group that you get to see with like an intelligent weapon. These guys have baseball bats.
Well, one dude did have like a handful of baseballs for no reason, and he never uses it.
Just take that.
And somehow, all right, all these guys have baseball bats, and they're running through the streets in the park, and somehow the Warriors take all their bats from them. Just not one of them gets a good shot in with those bats.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit in this movie. Like when there's actually like hand-to-hand fisticuff stuff. Like people just get their shit pushed in when they really shouldn't.
Yeah, the people with the advantage always lose to the guy with nothing.
Especially the dudes with the bats, because they go in for like an overhead swing of the bat, and they're getting taken out by kicks to the face. That's literally the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And these guys who should have just single-handedly wiped the fucking floor with the Warriors get trounced instantly.
By the way, do either of you think that those the baseball Furies guys kind of all look like the Blue Boy from that episode of Dragnet? Anybody? Is that too esoteric of a reference for this? All right, now look it up. It'll be fine.
So we're going to cut to a scene with a character played by, if you guys seen Dexter, Dexter's father. I'm not looking up his name. I don't care enough. So Dexter's dad is a warrior, and he sees a lady sitting on a park bench, and she's like, "Hey there," and he's like, "Rape." Just, man, her breast has to hurt. He fucking grabs it.
Yeah,
He's
like
no.
Off.
Yeah, he straight up just like titty punches that poor woman, then just bites her neck on both sides. It's like a fucking vampire.
Because if that's how these people think that you have sex, poor women that have to deal with this.
You have to treat your women like you're taking a big bite out of an apple. That's what it's all about.
After you punch it.
I don't know. Well, anyway, after the titty gets bruised, we find out that, surprise, she's a cop. And she handcuffs him to the park bench and blows the whistle for all of her cop buddies to come down and get this creep.
That rape whistle.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "Lady, come on, lady!" Like she doesn't have a name or anything. Just lady, please, come on, lady.
I was just gonna rape you and let me go.
Yeah. So
And then he gets socked in the gut.
yeah, he gets taken down by the cops, and they just have off with him.
But did you notice he got hit in the stomach, and then he's fucking
He starts
coughing
bleeding
blood.
blood from his mouth.
Yeah, did they hemorrhage this man? Is he gonna be taken to jail and bleed to death? I mean, is this the end of his character?
Done. Ajax is done.
He was on his way out. I mean, if he immediately coughed up blood, that's just tuberculosis.
Wyatt. Just,
Yeah.
we're introduced then, while they make it to the next little level, to the Lizzies. Not derogatory. I'm not being like, oh, look, there's lesbians. Let me abbreviate. No, that's just their fucking name in the film, the Lizzies.
I think things
like-
were different in the 1970s.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you have a group of mimes, you're just the mimes. Don't worry about it.
good times. But they quickly have to deal with the Lizzies and then make their way onto yet another subway train.
I mean, we're kind of split up into two parts right now. You've got Swan and Mercy, and you've got the gang of the other guys who are split off with the Lizzies.
There's just enough of them and just enough of them. Why not titty bruising?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they go back with the Lizzies to maybe try and have a real good time. Maybe smoke some weed. Maybe
Punch a
squeeze some
titty.
titties or something. Yeah, just have a little good time while they're waiting on their friends to meet up with them at Union Square.
Yeah, but the youngest one's just like really leery about this. He has that little gut feeling like, guys, we should just go while
Yeah,
they're getting
something wrong.
good.
And man, was he soft looking.
Yeah, he was. I kind of wanted to touch him.
Whoa!
What?
Catholic
What'd you say?
priest.
Eric, what'd you say?
I'm saying I'm leaving that in.
So
What?
he's so soft. He looks like a plush.
Well, I mean, maybe he's just supposed to be like the moral compass of the moment.
Yeah, to show the innocence or something like, guys, come on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really want to know what kind of moisturizer he uses. What?
But then, things happen.
Before we leave the Lizzie's apartment, can we have a drink?
Sure.
Today I've got from Ithaca Beer Company out of Ithaca, New York, their Flower Power IPA. It's just a solid middle of the road IPA. Lots of floral hoppy notes. Nothing real citrusy. Nothing really strong or bright or anything. Just a solid IPA to me.
Can you
And
taste the rainbow?
There's a little bit of rainbow in there.
What about me strawberry schmiggles?
You have a lot of soft notes.
Does it
Tastes
taste
like a to me.
Oh no!
Damn it! Now I have to cut this whole cast. It's going right in the trash.
All right, so back to Lizzie's apartment, and you've got the younger one with nice skin. You've got him, and he is definitely looking weary of the whole situation. He's just like, "Yo, guys, can we get out of here and get on our way?" While the other ones are like, "Come on, we can stick around. We can hang out with these fine ladies."
By fine ladies, you're talking about these people with these blank fucking expressions and dead stares.
Isn't that what you want in a woman?
Whenever they roll up on him in the subway, as a viewer, you already know what the fuck's going on. Trust me, you're gonna know.
100%.
Well, yeah,
But-
as a viewer, I'm thinking there's something wrong, but I mean, maybe I could party.
All right, I'm rolling with that. Fuck it, I'm there with you.
I like that.
It's your last night on Earth. You might as well go out.
Right. So at that moment, the script gets flipped. You see the knives come out. There's an ambush. They lock the doors, and the Lizzies are trying to stab themselves some warriors, I guess.
So while that's going on, there's a little bit of a rumble in the subway bathrooms.
So bad.
I don't know. It's kind of fun, but it's so clumsy. That's a good word. That whole fight is clumsy.
Well, pretty much
Dude,
you've
on
got-
roller skates, it kills me. Like, who the fuck is like, you know what I want to do? It's Streets of Rage. Have you ever played Streets of Rage?
Yes.
It's just that.
So you've got Swan and Mercy who are like, they're avoiding another gang or whatever by running down from one train station to another. Mercy figures out that they're getting peeped on by a guy wearing roller skates, and they're just getting followed by him.
He's not in a gang. He's just weird.
Yeah. He's wearing overalls and roller skates. And Mercy's like, hey, we're being followed. And Swan's like, I know, but now he knows that I know. So, damn, bitch.
You know?
It's the roller girl from Boogie Nights.
He just turns into Xanadu.
Oh.
So at the same time, while they're sitting there trying to figure out exactly what to do, they sneak into the restroom and set up a little ambush.
So from one situation to the next. That's this whole movie in a nutshell.
One goofy situation to the next. It's always nonsensical how things work out. Like with this bathroom fight scene, they walk in. There's no feet under the stalls, and they're like, "There's the dude." They all line up in front of a stall. Bam! All the doors come open. It's time to run. Yeah, just man.
They take their weapons and beat them with it, and then they get out of there. They skedaddle.
You just reminded me that all these gangs have like specific weapons, except the Warriors. But the Warriors just use their weapons against them, so their weapons are just other people's weapons.
Yeah, they have the grab button. You got to hit square and X together, and it pulls the weapon from the other character.
So, are the Warriors the dittos of this gang world?
They are.
Ooh.
But they're the MacGyvers more so. They will find a weapon. Like whenever they finally make it back to Coney Island, they don't even have weapons. It's not like a shortage of weapons. They just start tearing off pieces of the pier.
Lizzie's apartment, they got Swan and Mercy, they get on the final train and everything, and have this cool little moment where they're having like this little juxtaposition between them, they're kind of like street trash, and these other people look like they were just really well dressed, like I guess the high life in New York City, and they almost like looking in a mirror, but like reversed.
Good for them.
Yeah, I definitely think they're maybe coming back from the prom or some kind of a wedding thing or something. I don't know. But once they get on and after they're laughing and they realize that they're looking across from like this guy in no shirt and a leather vest and this girl with no bra looking kind of sweaty and dirty, and they're just like, oh, we should get off.
Yeah, that guy was just like, oh god, they're dirty.
I bet they don't even have a Metro pass. Yeah, so they take this final train and make it to Coney Island, and they're walking through. You see all the Ferris wheel and all the games and everything. It's morning now.
Yeah, but it's certainly late 70s Coney Island. Man, that place looks like shit.
Yeah. Because it would look so good today.
And they're followed by the rogues in a vehicle 20 feet away.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You get a shot of the Warriors from the inside of the rogues vehicle, and they're just right the fuck there, man. Like, it's just like right the fuck there, and these guys are like, I don't even know they're behind me.
It's almost like the conversation's like, hey, what's that? What's what? I don't know. Let's keep walking.
Don't mind that. Cars aren't real.
But this is it. This is the final showdown.
The final showdown.
Instead of guitar solo, it's just like a bunch of glass clinking together.
Warriors, come out to play.
Can I point out the fact that gets ridiculously more aggressive as he does it? Like, he's getting into it. He's getting a good old Bonner after that one.
He's fucking selling it hard.
The fucking iconic scene from this movie. Of all the fun little things, this is the iconic scene.
100%.
You see Luther sitting in the car, clanking together these 3 beer bottles on his fingers. Evidently, he came up with that just on the spot. And
good on David Patrick Kelly for just, improvising something so fucking iconic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's his claim to fame, absolutely. Like, I always remember him from Commando because Commando's fucking boss. But I guess that's just him. That's So this being the final showdown, and they are coming out to play. They scurry on over to the beach, get this nice wide open area, this nice little battle arena and everything. So they're face to face. You got the Rogues and the Warriors, and they're about to throw down.
And the Warriors are definitely outnumbered here.
Yeah, at least like 5-9.
So
Yeah.
you get to see these weapons, and there's a switchblade, there's like a fucking pipe, there's a piece of wood, and then it shows the rogues, and these guys have weapons. And then Luther, David Patrick Kelly's character, pulls a fucking Magnum handgun. Like, here it is, dun dun dun. Just
Like, what, one-on-one fight? You're dead. And he starts like laughing about it, like, I got this gun. That trumps all. I mean, rock, paper, scissors, gun. Gun wins, duh.
Yeah, bringing a gun to all the other fights.
well, you'd never want to bring a knife to a gunfight, unless you're
It's
Unless-
a knife gun. Oh. It was 3 different things.
Pocket knife, sha-sha!
Yeah, and then he lets out that fucking. So yeah, Swan throws the pocket knife, and it sticks Luther in the hand, and he lets out the same scream that he uses in Commando. But he still gets a shot off. Boom! You hear the gun discharge, and the Warriors are standing fucking shoulder to shoulder. Just even if he fucking missed, he can't miss.
Well, he turns out to be a big puss, so maybe he was just like a stormtrooper all along.
Just warning shot.
Yeah.
You see, surrounding this battle scene is the massive army of the Gramercy Riffs.
But right there in that split second, Swan comes over, yanks the knife out of his hand or whatever, then takes his hair and just wipes his own blood on it. Thought he's such a badass.
Very disrespectful in a cool way, like, bitch. So, through all this, the Gramercy Riffs have come to find out that, in fact, the Warriors are innocent of the crime. And, in fact, it was the Rogues who had assassinated Mr. Can You Dig It himself.
Can you dig it?
Yeah, it turns out there were like 10,000 eyewitnesses saying that it wasn't the Warriors.
Yeah. Shocker. But, again, this blows my mind. This is your Kung Fu gang. These guys are walking down, and as a Kung Fu gang, you would expect these dudes to be carrying like nunchucks or a katana or perhaps a bow staff.
They're from the Shaolin lands of Ottawa, Canada.
Yep, they show up fucking mad packing hockey sticks.
I mean, they're just so badasses, you need hockey sticks so you can ice some folks.
Ooh, I like it.
That's a 2-minute penalty.
Going straight to the box.
So they're pretty much like, Warriors, you're cool, get out of here, go home. And then they just, as far as I
Pat
can
'em
tell,
up.
just
Oh.
beat the shit out of what's left of the Rogues. Or I assume that's what's going to happen.
Well, he just lets out another iconic scream, and it's just kind of like, you get it.
Roll credits.
Don't you forget about it.
Oh no, don't you start that. So whenever, they give him like the leeway, like, here, you're free, you get the Sultry Lips Carmen Sandiego dedication of my face, dedication song is In the City by the Eagles. And as soon as it started playing, I was like, holy shit, I love this song, mostly because they use it in the Citadel of Ricks from Rick and Morty.
Well, I mean, that whole show's full of references and stuff like that. And Chandler had mentioned before the cast that Joe Walsh had done some music in this movie. And absolutely, he does. It's fantastic. The soundtrack of this movie is just wonderful. I
agree wholeheartedly. The soundtrack is where it's at. There's a lot of movies that we've done that with, is we'll be watching it and we just really tune into that soundtrack part.
I think the soundtrack is one of the huge benefits of this movie, is because I mentioned earlier, this movie has no real plot, just very, very thin one. But the momentum of this movie is carried by the soundtrack. It gets you going. You're like, come on, dudes, you guys can make it. You can do it.
Yeah, that's sort of John Carpenter-esque. I keep throwing it back to John Carpenter because that's really just what it reminds me of. It really sets the tone for every little scene and every little plot point that we have here. I'm into it.
Yeah, it helped with the pacing, it helped with the mood setting. It's definitely the star of the film, other than, tit punching and whatnot.
So that was The Warriors from 1979. I myself enjoyed this movie very much. It's a lot of fun, not a lot of substance, but it's a good time.
And to answer the question, I can dig it.
There we have it. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media. They'll be posted right down in the description.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that little bell for notifications so you know next time we got another one brewing.
Yeah, and if you got anything you want to say down in the comments about this wonderful film, make sure that you drop it in there.
All right, and we'll see you next time.